And so it just goes back to the lesson. It's like you're not too late. You're not too late to do what you're meant to do if you really believe and you stick with it. It took me a while to get there, but it happened for me, and I'm so
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Ecom Life. Today, we're doing things a little bit differently, as you might be able to tell. My name is Lindy, and I work for Quadra. And today, we're going to be talking to John about his story because his story has such an integral part in who Quadra has become.
Yeah. Thanks, Lindy. This is kind of cool. You're usually behind the table.
I know, it's kind of weird.
Yeah. You're doing great. So thanks for having me on my podcast.
Anytime. So today, I think we really just kind of want to dive into like how your story has influenced what Quadra has become, Quadra's mission and everything. So if you would just start out by telling us a little bit about your background growing up, how that's played into.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I have kind of a interesting background, I guess you could say. So my parents, they my mom's Brazilian and my dad is American. He's from California, and they met while my dad was on a mission for the church in Brazil. And so they actually, it's kind of crazy, but they never dated before they got married. They actually were just writing letters back and forth. This is way before email and all that, right? And social media. So they did it the old school way, I guess, long distance relationships. But so they would write letters to each other. And long story short, they ended up getting married. And I was the first kid. So I kind of interrupted things, I guess you could say. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so they decided to move to Brazil after I was about a year old. I was born here in the States. And so that just kind of started a lifelong love affair with Brazil, the culture and everything. But I wasn't born in Brazil, but I lived there, and then we moved back here for a little bit for my dad to go to graduate school. And then when I was about 5 years old, we moved back to Brazil until I was about 11. And so from that time, it was kind of, I don't know, are those considered formidable years?
I would say those are your formidable
Are they?
years.
I don't know what quite the definition is of formidable years. But it got, I went to school at a Brazilian school and everything. I completely didn't speak English anymore. And so anyway, we decided to move back when I was about 11, 12 years old, back to the States. And I just remember it was super hard for me. Imagine just being a kid that didn't speak the language, and my parents, I don't know, this is back in the day where they would just let kids figure things out, I guess. They just threw me into school, and I didn't know how to speak English, and so I kind of had to learn as I go, as they say. But it just taught me, with all these kind of experiences, it teaches you resilience, it teaches you how to adapt. But in a way, I had to overcome a lot of, I wouldn't call it bullying, but just being, I don't know, just like an outsider. I don't know, like where you don't feel like you belong in either place. Like in Brazil, I didn't feel like I belonged because I was the American kid, but moving back to the States, kind of had that same feeling because I look American, whatever. What does an American look like, right?
Yeah, right.
But you know what I'm saying. Let's just say I didn't look very Brazilian, but I felt very much not part of the culture, and so it just helped me build up that resilience. It also helped me really learn how to talk to people and push through hard things, which is a huge part of why Quadra was born, is through some of the things that we'll talk about here in a bit. But yeah, that's kind of my upbringing. And then obviously living here in the States, I lived in New York right when we moved from Brazil, and then Arizona, and then I ended up finishing high school in Utah, Salt Lake City area. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I would say that resilience has definitely come into play with Quadra.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. So, but yeah, but really after that, I just I went to school at the University of Utah, got my degree in marketing, um, and just got married and did the family thing, right? But while I was at college, and this is part of my journey as well, this is, I think, what really got me interested in what we're doing now with Quadra is back in those days, internet marketing was just getting started. So I was finishing up at the U, early 2000s, and I had gotten this. I don't even remember how I got it. I have to really think about this. I have no idea how this came on my radar. But Frank Kern, who many of you will know, is a very famous internet marketer at the time. He was just getting started, and he had launched a product called Internet Empires. I'll never forget it. And in this little course he built, I think it was like $20 or something. In this little course he built, he talked about how to do Google AdWords, how to sell product online, and it just really connected with me. Like, I don't know, it's just one of those things. People all have their things that they connect with. For me, for some strange reason, it was online marketing. It just really struck a chord, and it was exciting to me to think of the prospects of selling to people all across the globe, like digitally. I don't know, it just fascinated me. And this was early on in the obviously in the internet. But yeah, that's kind of my background with online marketing. That's kind of where the passion started. So yeah.
Yeah. So coming away from college after you kind of fallen in
Hmm.
love with internet marketing, were you planning on working in
Oh yeah.
digital marketing, or did you have another career path in mind for yourself?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I'm thinking back on it. I think it was early enough where I just didn't even think that internet marketing was like a career. I just don't remember, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't remember like nowadays how you can go work for a digital marketing agency, or come on a company and do digital marketing. That for me, I don't remember that being a thing, and so I never even thought about it. So I actually just went into corporate sales. But I always thought of it kind of like a hobby, something I do on the side, and not really thinking that it could be a full time thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you got a job in sales. What was your
Uh-huh.
career path after that?
Yeah, so that's a good. I just chuckle because I don't know if I've told you this off camera, but my first job out of college. Well, no, not first job, but I guess my real like professional job that I got after college was working for a sewing company, for a magazine. I know nothing about sewing. I have no interest in sewing, but I got a sales manager position with them, and actually. I know I was gonna say maybe I did do some digital marketing with them, but no, I really didn't. But so yeah, I did that, and then I did that for about a year, and then after that, I landed with a company here in Utah that was selling software to home builders. So that was right before 2009, where things kind of changed. But yeah, that was the career path.
Yeah, very cool. So you mentioned that in
Yeah,
2009 things changed a little bit. I think you're not alone there. Can you tell
yeah.
us a little bit about how that changed things for you?
Yeah, I had this job I really liked. It was selling software to home builders. I really loved it. I was able to work from home too. This was kind of rare back then. I think this was, yeah, 2000. I started in 2005 with them. But yeah, 2008, as you know, we had the recession, not unlike what's happening right now, actually. Um, but actually, back then it was more about the housing market. So, people were losing their homes. People weren't buying homes, and so I got laid off that job.
Yeah, kind of an unfortunate time to be
I
in the
know,
housing industry.
especially since I just had a little girl. So I got laid off in 2000. She had just been born in October,
Yeah.
and then I got laid off in, I think, February or March of 2009. So this is our third kid. So you can imagine, right? Like, and I just think a lot about people today that are we've been seeing on the news so many people losing their jobs right now because of the recession. And I just can empathize so much with that because as a father, as a provider, for my family, it was just so difficult to wake up one day and not know what you were going to do.
Yeah.
So
That is really difficult. So what what was your next steps? Were you able to find a job right after you lost yours?
Actually, no. So this is kind of where internet marketing comes into play because like I told you, I'd gotten these other jobs, but it was online marketing was just always my thing. And so I was always doing stuff on the side, like SEO, um, trying to get blogs to rank. I was trying to do affiliate marketing, just stuff like that. And in my mind, I just saw an opportunity to offer websites and marketing services, digital marketing services to home builders. And so I decided to go out on my own, not ever owning a business. So that's the other thing. I didn't grow up entrepreneurial at all. Like that was not even on my radar. I always thought I'd just have a job, and just because that's the way I grew up. My parents weren't entrepreneurial. You know, my dad worked in corporate America, so I never thought of it as entrepreneurial. Even at the time, I was like, well, I'm just trying to provide for my family. I never thought like I'm just going to go be an entrepreneur, you know? So yeah, so I was like, well, maybe I could help home builders. 'Cause I already had contacts. I had clients that were home builders. I thought, well, you know, they're struggling to sell homes right now. Maybe I could, you know, offer my services to help them sell homes. And so I kind of went for it, and it was challenging, right? Because I think at one point, one part of it, these home builders did have interest in like in having me work for them, but the reality is just stuff wasn't moving. And so I had a couple partners in the business that we were just working together, and eventually it just got really hard. Everyone kind of got jobs, but I really wanted to stick with it, you know,
Yeah.
because I believed I could. I don't know. At that point, I think I felt like, oh, maybe I am an entrepreneur because I had some initial success. I had some sales, but nothing like huge. But at least I was kind of providing for my family. But then, yeah, but then it got hard enough where I was like, I can't just do this, and that's where, you know, I went into delivering pizzas. So that's the next part of the story.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you feel like that resilience that you learned as a
hmm
kid kind of came into play when you were trying to
Oh,
start your business and like doing whatever you could to keep it going?
yes, definitely. I absolutely think so. I think being able to be put in situations as a kid where I had to figure things out like that. You know, I hadn't really thought about it that much until we had kind of started talking about doing my story. And really right now it kind of just hit me like just being in a situation where yeah, you have to communicate. You have to really like fend for yourself in a lot of ways, you know. I guess in a way, yeah, it really did help me with that. I think that's one of the things that I've found in business. My business journey is so much of entrepreneurship is just figuring things out. You know, I think that's why a lot of people avoid entrepreneurship because you want to get a job where you can kind of know what you're going to do,
Right.
when you're going to get paid. You know, these are the tasks. But when you're an entrepreneur, when you start out, you know, you're doing your own business, there's things that you just have to figure out.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess I'd never really, I knew it helped me in a way, but I didn't realize that part of it really did help me, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I like that insight. So you said that in order to kind of provide for your family and you started
uh-huh.
delivering pizzas. Were
I
you still
did.
trying to run your business at the time
I
you were delivering
was.
pizzas?
Yeah, that's super interesting. I was trying to run my business while delivering pizzas as kind of supplement income. It had gotten pretty dire, so yeah, I was making some okay money, but I started to get really behind on my mortgage. I had to try to pull some strings with the mortgage company. I was behind on my car payments. I was literally really on the point of disaster of losing everything. I didn't have insurance. I couldn't afford insurance. So, you know, it's scary with, you know, when you have young kids, especially like we had a newborn and everything. I think about it now, I don't know. It almost gives me like I don't know what the word is. It just kind of gives me a little bit of PTSD that I had gone that far with it, you know? Like I think there's lots of people that don't have health insurance, but it's really hard when you have younger kids because they're always getting sick. It's not the best situation.
Yeah, uncertain.
Uncertain. Yeah, so it was extremely hard, and I just remember saying, well, I had a buddy actually that was doing it on the side, and he said, well, maybe you should come deliver pizza. So
Yeah.
I started doing that. So big shout out to Pizza Hut for giving me that opportunity. It was a lifeline for me to make some extra money doing it. So
Yeah. Well, what would you say that delivering pizzas taught you? Is that, I know it's kind of a
yeah,
hard thing to look back on, like, oh,
I
I changed my
know.
life, and
Yeah, that's a great
but
question.
do you feel like you took anything away from that?
I did. That's a really good question. I hadn't really thought about it too much in that way, like what it had taught me, other than because looking back at it, a lot of times I felt a lot of shame about it. When in reality, it taught me a lot of cool things. First, it taught me that just going back to figuring things out, I can figure things out. Like it gave me, it was just another way that I was able to figure things out.
Right.
But the other thing too, it showed me that I could do hard things. That I mean, delivering pizzas is not. It's not like not huge manual labor, But for me, just being someone that had been in corporate America, who'd been, had a successful job, it taught me a lot of humility as well, and but it taught me how to grind and how to, yeah, to stick to something. But the thing that I look back on more on that, and I'm so glad you asked that because typically this is how I really viewed it, was I was super ashamed of myself. Like I've said this before on other interviews, but I had friends that were super successful, that were doing great with their
Yeah.
lives, making good money. And I just remember I would just feel this shame of like, man, I'm trying to start this business that's not making any money, and here I am at nights delivering pizzas in my neighborhood. I remember vividly just really being like, I just really hope I don't get called to someone I know from church or work or one of my clients, because I felt so ashamed. Looking back, I don't know. There's nothing to be ashamed about with that. It was just more of that feeling of just failure. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's what I really, unfortunately, that's where my thoughts have gone a lot. But like you said, I think the lessons are huge there. The other thing it really taught me, and this is, when we get into my story with Quadra, looking back, it has really taught me a lot of empathy and grace, and
Yeah.
for what other people have to go through to provide for their families.
Yeah.
And so that, and we'll get into it here in a bit, but that's what really fuels me with Quadra, is being able to help those that were in a similar situation as me,
Yeah.
that were looking for a way to provide. So, but yeah, so that's kind of the journey with the pizza delivery. Just a lot of I don't know. I even hate using the word shame, because there's no shame in providing for your family. There's no
Yeah.
shame in doing the hard work. It's just that when you expect to be at a certain level in your life and you're not there, those feelings can surface,
Yeah.
and they certainly did for me.
Well, I like how you brought up that there's nothing to be ashamed of, because I
Yeah.
think you
Thank
going out
you.
and delivering pizzas was, I
Hmm.
just shows how much ambition you had to make
Thank you.
your
Yeah.
business work, which I think is very admirable.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So after you were
Hmm.
done delivering pizzas, or maybe not delivering pizzas, did you
Uh-oh.
finally get your business to work, or did you
Oh.
make your foray back into the corporate world? What was your plan after that?
That's a good question. Yeah. So, unfortunately, or I shouldn't say unfortunately, everything happens for a good reason. So the next stage of my journey is we got pregnant with my son, and so at that point I was like, I can't keep doing this. I have to find a job. I need health insurance, or I just didn't know how we would pay for it. And so I did. I went and got a job. And while I was at that job, I did work. I still delivered pizzas for a little bit, just to kind of recoup some of the losses and catch up. But yeah, I went back to corporate America, and I got a job with a great company. And but I don't know this. And for those of you listening, maybe you have felt this, but I don't know if anyone listening's ever gone for something and they got a taste of what it would be like. Like for me, it was like to be my own boss, to be an entrepreneur, but then to give up. I felt like I'd given up on it, and so for me, that was kind of psychologically. I don't know. I felt defeated. I'm like,
That's
well,
fair.
I got 4 kids. I'm married. I have 4 kids. I'm the sole provider for my household, and so I was like, I failed. I had my shot, and that's the other lesson. Obviously, we've gone on to build a successful business, but that's a lesson I think we can all relate to or learn from is that it's never too late to go for your dreams. I hear this a lot because we do a lot of coaching. When we talk to certain people, they're like, well, I'm in my 40s now. I have a career that the dream of me owning a business, to start a product business or whatever that dream is, it's over for me. Like I need to get real with my life. And I'm here to tell you that's not reality. You can still go for your dreams, have the dream career that you want, no matter what your situation is in life. Yeah. At that time, I didn't think that way. I had mostly just given into the fact I was going to have a job, and it caused actually for me to feel pretty depressed. Honestly, if I'm being honest, I had a good job. I enjoyed the people I worked with. I had good clients, but there was a part of me that I felt that wasn't fulfilled, and it was, because I loved online marketing. I got the entrepreneurial bug, and having a job just didn't feel right for me. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Well, I would say that you're probably not alone in experiencing
the
thoughts of, well, what could have been if that would have worked out? Because I feel like that's something that most of us have experienced probably.
Yeah.
But did you end up kind of looking to get back into starting your own business, or what was your thoughts for that?
I'm thinking back when I was at that corporate job. I don't remember thinking, I want to go start another business. I just always loved doing internet marketing on the side and figuring out ways to make some extra money. It's like what I like to call as a dabbler. I just like to dabble in things. It was just fun for me. So yeah, I wasn't looking necessarily. I'm trying to think. I don't remember being like, I can't wait to go start a job. I just remember feeling kind of some PTSD from the last time, and so I felt like I failed. That chapter was done, but looking back, I can see that I really was yearning to do my own thing. Yeah. I just don't remember thinking, oh, I need to go do that. Does that make sense? Yeah. But at that time when I was at this job, I came across a new way to make money online called print on demand, right? Which we all love around here at Quadra. And it was back in, I want to say 2013. Yeah, 2013, 2014 is when I started to see people talk about Teespring, which was the big print-on-demand player, at least in the circles I ran into. Well, with Teespring, what it allowed you to do was to sell shirts online without having to buy inventory, without having to ship anything. And so for me, I thought that was really, really cool. And I started seeing guys post these huge earnings just selling Teespring, and I got super interested in it. So, yeah.
And I'm sure it kind of comes back to your interests again in marketing.
Yep.
The idea that you could be at home and sell things to anywhere. It makes sense that would be something you're interested in. So,
yeah, exactly.
Did you take action after you found that interest? Or did you...
It took me a little while, but yeah, and I should mention one of the things that really intrigued me about the Teespring thing is people were using Facebook ads to sell them. And so this was the early time of Facebook ads. I know now in 2022, it's become more of a challenge. Now, I'm not going to get on a rant on that because I still think there's a huge opportunity in Facebook ads. We still use Facebook ads daily in our business, and it certainly works. But back then in 2013, 2014, it was like the heyday, I believe, for Facebook ads. I feel like it was a little easier to get your product sales. So yeah, we were using Facebook ads, and I didn't take any action. At first, I remember it took me about, I would say 6 months to a year to really do something serious with it. I remember creating a design for a pit bull page. I created a Facebook page for pit bull owner. I have no interest in pit bulls, but it was just I was just dabbling, just seeing if I could build up my idea at the time was to build up a Facebook page for pit bull owners and then sell like affiliate products. And so I tried to sell a pit bull t-shirt, which was terrible. It was a terrible design. I still have it in my Teespring account. Maybe I can pull it up, and show it. If not, but don't worry about it. But anyway, it was a pretty funny T-shirt. Not funny in the sense that anyone would buy it. It's just funny bad, you know. But in 2014, there was a guy named Don Wilson who launched a course on how to sell um, T-shirts on Teespring, and he was showing all these screenshots of all these people doing it. You know, the typical stuff. I guess you see. We show those. You know, we show those things just to show people, hey, we're regular people. If we can do it, you can do it. It was the same kind of thing, and I think this is a difference. I really believed that I could do it. I'm like, these guys are doing it. Why can't I do it? You know, and I think that for me, we always talk about mindset here at Quadra. For me, I think that's the biggest thing. You have to have the mindset, the belief that you can do something. Because the skills you can learn, anyone can learn the skills. But the reason people fail is that they don't have the right mindset. They usually give up, right? And so I don't know what it was, but it clicked. I was like, I'm going to do this. And so I was like, I'm going to buy this course. I'm going to learn how to do this. But I had to talk to my wife because it was a substantial investment at the time for us. And you know, she was used to me buying all these courses and not really doing anything with them. Yeah, back to the dabbler. Yep. So I made a deal. This is true. I told her, I said, look, this comes with the 30-day money back guarantee. I promise you that I will give it everything I have. If I can't make any money in 30 days, that's it. I'll forget about it. I won't do anything more with it, right? And so, long story short, we decided to go ahead and do it. And yeah, I started following the course on how to do it. I got a designer on Fiverr that created the designs. So I wasn't creating these horrible designs. And 2 weeks going in, I didn't really have any traction. So I was getting a little worried, right? Because I had this deal with my wife. And then I think about this. Yeah, the third weekend, I got a T-shirt to sell, and it was a shirt about it was a Brazilian shirt. Ironically enough, I think it said what did it say? Shoot, I don't know. I do have that shirt. We can put it in the video. I forgot what it said, but it was just a Brazilian shirt, and I sold I think 40 or 50 of them, and I think I made $1,000 on it. I don't know if that was profit, but anyway, I may have made just a little bit of profit. But the big thing to me was that I proved to myself that I could do it, you know? And so that for me was like the big catalyst. The ironic thing is I've gone on to sell literally hundreds of thousands of products online. I have never been able to replicate the success with a Brazilian product, despite being Brazilian, despite loving the culture, and despite having a lot of experience. Not having experience and getting that shirt to sell, for me, it was like a sign. It was like God sent to me. I think it's a cool part of my journey. That was the shirt that kind of catapulted things, but I was never able to really sell anything Brazilian wise ever since. So anyway.
That's really cool. So you started to get into print on demand.
Yep.
You're still working your other
Yep.
job. At this time, are you still in Utah?
Yeah. No, no. So sorry. No, I was in Dallas, which is where I lived, with the corporate job, and also when I was delivering pizza. I should mention I was living in Dallas. So no, I was in Dallas, but yeah, I still had the job, but I was starting to make some good money. Like I kept at it, and that's the other thing. I was consistent. I was just like, I'm gonna just keep doing this, and I just kept believing and just kept doing it and doing it. And I had some months where I was making more than I was making at my day job. I had a shirt. I remember a horse shirt that I don't know. I think I made 7, 8 grand in like 2 weeks selling it. Just part time. And that's what I love about print on demand. And this is totally possible now. It's not like those days have passed at all. I mean, we've had products that sell way more than that. But yeah, it started to become this thing where I'm like, wow. That's when I started to say, maybe this could be something, right?
Yes. So
Yeah.
at what point did you start to think maybe you wanted to do it full time?
Oh, yeah. So this was around the time. So this is a whole other story. I'm not going to get into this story, but let's just say I had a premonition that I wanted to move to Utah, to Logan specifically, which I am from Utah, but um, I don't know much about Logan. I know you're from Logan,
I am
right?
from Logan.
Well, you kind of lived some other places,
Yeah,
right?
I lived in Iowa for a little bit, but
Yeah.
most of my life I spent
Yeah,
in Logan.
right here in
Familiar
Logan.
with
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't know too many people. I didn't know anyone here, in fact. But for some reason, I just felt this draw to live somewhere rural. Logan's a nice rural town here in northern Utah. We love it here. But I had this thing where we wanted to move to Logan, and Logan's not this metropolis. We don't even have a freeway that goes through here, which is really weird.
We were talking about that the
Yeah,
other day. They don't teach kids in Logan
I
to
know.
drive on the freeway
Isn't that
because there
crazy?
just isn't one.
I
It's
did
just
ask you that. So
yeah,
your dad taught you, right?
yeah. I just had to like drive all the way over there.
Oh my gosh. So I did hear that Logan's like one of the biggest cities that doesn't have a freeway running through it.
That would make sense. I just yeah.
It's just weird. So a freeway, the nearest freeway is what, 30 minutes?
Yeah, you
25,
have to
30
go out
minutes?
to.
Yeah, you
I
have
would
to
say
go
you're
through a
like 20
canyon.
minutes
So it's
one
nestled
way.
in this really like quaint town.
Yeah.
What was my point was like there's just not a lot of jobs here, and so I didn't know what I was going to do. But this is where print on demand comes into play. I got to the point where I was making steady enough income where I could take a lower paying job and supplement my income with print on demand, which was really, really cool. And I think at that point, that's when I'm like, okay, I think I could make this full time. But I still needed a corporate job. I still needed the benefits. So I did land a job here in Logan, and I just really started to continue doing Teespring sales, print on demand. And in 2015, I was able to um, go full time in the business, and I expanded out from selling Teespring. I opened up a Shopify store and started selling other products besides print on demand. So
Well, was that a scary leap?
it was. It did help that the company was also downsizing, and so it was like mutually like good and
Yeah,
bad.
you're
So I was
like,
like, well,
it
if
just gave
it,
you the nudge.
yeah, it
Yeah.
gave me the nudge to actually go and do it. I do remember, when everything went down, going on a drive up here you'll know where this is, 16th East up there in North Logan, real pretty area, overseeing the mountains, and just feeling really scared,
Yeah.
because again, I just hark back to when I tried doing it back earlier.
Yeah.
I'd failed, and that's the other thing. And I'm trying to learn this with Quadra too. Just because something happened in the past that was bad, you failed, doesn't mean that that's your destiny for the next thing you're doing.
Right.
But your mind wants to take you there,
Yeah,
right?
that's
And
a hard
so,
thing to overcome.
oh, it's so hard. And psychologically, that's where I was. I was like, well, now what? It's the same thing. It's like I got laid off. Here I am again,
Yeah.
and this time will I be able to make it work? And I got to tell you, it was scary. It really was. And in fact, at that time, Teespring had lined me up with a mentor, because they saw that I was starting to make money, and this mentor taught me a process that actually eventually helped me blow up the business. Which, by the way, if you go to goquadra.com, subscribe to our master class, I go into that process a little bit that
Yeah.
allowed me to go full time. Just a little plug there, right?
Yeah,
I guess
all
it's our
for
plug.
free.
It's all for free, exactly. It is our podcast, so we can plug it, right?
No rules against that one.
Yeah. No, what was so anyway, I had already started to kind of get get a process down, which is what most ecom people don't do. And that's why most of them don't go full time. What I found is they don't have a process. They don't stick to a process. If they do, they're they're not consistent. So I had actually, my wife's from Georgia. Her nephew's a very talented designer and artist, and so I actually had hired him to start
Cool.
doing my designs for me in Georgia. But when I got laid off, I took the leap and I said, "Why don't you move out here? I'll hire you full time."
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah, to come out here. Did you ever meet Luke? I don't know if you ever did. He may have gone before you started. You'll know that he just lives like, where the Anniversary Inn is, right next door. The house with all the statues and stuff.
That's a fun neighborhood.
Yeah, yeah. So just down the street here. So he still lives here to this day, even though he doesn't work with me anymore. But so I was scared. Like I was like, okay, now I have to provide for him and my family.
Right.
Fortunately, I'd made enough money where we had money in the bank, and we were good. But I was also spending money on marketing
Right.
too.
Yeah.
So and on this business. So yeah, that was kind of scary. So I haven't looked back. I haven't worked for anyone else since then. And we'll get into Quadra here in a bit and how that all fits. But I just want to say, like, I look in the camera, I was probably what, almost 40 when I was able to do it. And so it just goes back to the lesson. It's like you're not too late. You're not too late to do what you're meant to do if you really believe and you stick with it. It took me a while to get there, but it happened for me, and I'm so grateful now that I get to teach people and show people how we've done it, and just really passionate about that. So
So you're selling print on demand,
yep, living the good life,
living a good
traveling,
life.
working from home.
Most people would probably
Yeah.
just keep selling for on demand, right?
Yeah,
Maybe
true.
you, like you're saying, traveling,
Yep.
spending more time at home, but you decided to kind of
Yeah.
start Quadra. What were the issues with print on demand that you were like, I want
Yeah.
to change that. I want to do something.
Yeah. Good question. It wasn't so much print on demand as well. I'm glad you brought up print on demand because obviously print on demand is a big journey. I wasn't just selling print on demand. I was selling other products as well, outsourcing products from distributors and other things. And so one of the things that I felt was really frustrating in the industry is finding unique products to sell. And not only, when I say unique, like just a selection of products. So, for instance, if you go print on demand, it's pretty limited a lot of times. You're going to get T-shirts, mugs, and then nowadays it's a little bit more. But in those earlier days, that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
On the drop shipping side of things, you would have people on Etsy, for example, that had really cool products, or it was a laser engrave shop that made really cool. In fact, Brian, our business partner, was one of the things. So he had really cool products. But how do you connect? How do I send him the orders? How do they drop ship things? How does that all work? And there was no marketplace out there that allowed you to go and source product, drop ship and print on demand products, unique products. You either had to create your own manual connections, or you had to use print on demand exclusively.
Yeah.
And so for me, I started to think, I'm like, well, what if there was a way to connect these really cool product makers, manufacturers with sellers like me who are constantly looking for new products to sell? And so that's where I just really started talking and thinking about it. And then actually I met my business partner, Scott, who's a developer. And I told him the idea. Well, what do you think of this? Wouldn't it be cool if they could do that? Is that something you could build? And he said, yeah, I think we could do this. And so initially, that was the genesis of it. It's become more of a mission-driven thing, and I think we'll get into it here in a bit. But the genesis of it really was how can I tap into more product sources without having to source overseas and wait and like buy in bulk? What if I could build a marketplace where any seller can log in, find products to sell, either print on demand, drop ship, whatever, and be able to live a lifestyle like I was having? Because I didn't want to get into like importing, export, doing all the logistics, shipping. I guess it's because I'm lazy. I was working from home. I literally was working, 10, 15 hours a week. I did some consulting too. The businesses started to contact me about my services because, just being successful with Facebook ads. So I did some of that, but I had a really good chill life. But I saw an opportunity with Quadra, and so yeah, that's good.
So after you had found Scott and talked to him about your idea, what were the next steps?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So first of all, let me jump in. I just thought of it. So Quadra, what Quadra means? Quadra is a call out to my heritage as a Brazilian. Funny thing is, I don't know if you know this, Lindy, but Scott's grandma's actually Brazilian. So he doesn't speak Portuguese or anything like I do. But anyway, Quadra means court like a sports court in Portuguese, and so I'm a big sports fan. But the other thing too is the nature of Quadra as a marketplace is collaboration between product creators and sellers. And so for me, a Quadra, a court is where that collaboration comes into
Yeah.
play. And so it kind of just, I don't know, it's a nod to my heritage, but also the vision of, helping people monetize their creativity, which is our mission,
Yes.
but also just that collaboration between manufacturers and sellers. So the next steps were, well, both Scott and I, he was he was he was he's doing development work, and so we didn't have capital to really pour a lot into it because he was doing as much as he could on the side. So we were trying to raise money to kind of help development free up his time so he could do more development as well, especially as he was slammed with stuff going on with his life and then also with his work. And so what we decided to do was do more client work under the Quadra building umbrella. And so we'd help businesses with their online marketing. And then that's how we met Brian, actually, which is our other co-founder who is also part of the podcast. He owned a big laser engraved shop here in town, and we met through a mutual friend. I was meeting tons of people just because of the way we were able to help other businesses here. We just get referrals.
Yeah.
So we got referred to Brian, and he was doing laser engraving, and we helped him start selling product. He sold a ton of product. And just through our relationship, we were telling him about Quadra and what our vision was about what our vision was, and he got really excited about it.
Yeah.
He could see the possibility. As someone that works as a manufacturer, he saw the vision of, hey, this would be really cool if sellers and manufacturers had a place where they could connect and sell together, right? And so, long story short, he had a business called Urban Forest Wood that we scaled. And as part of being part of Quadra, we've took on ownership of Urban Forest, and so now we are business owners in both Urban Forest and Quadra, and so that's kind of how those were the next steps on that.
So, as Urban Forest owners, you guys started creating more and more products. And part of the reason you were selling so many products was to earn money to keep creating Quadra, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'll let you tell it, but there's kind of a product that really did everything for you, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So as we were scaling, we were trying to fund ourselves. So I should say we're still doing some client work. But Urban Forest got going so well, and the cool thing about it is we were using the principles of what we were trying to accomplish. We were building out Quadra by connecting Brian's store with Shopify, and then later on with a bigger manufacturer, which is now a Quadra manufacturer. But we were selling these products, and we ran across this awesome product, which is a toilet paper ornament, which I think we can have up on here for those viewing. It is the most simple product you ever see. It says, "I love you more than toilet paper." This was in 2020 in April. Brian approached me and said, "What do you think?" I think it actually was in March. He says to me, "What do you think of this coronavirus thing?" Right? This is before things shut down.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm like, it's just going to be like the swine flu or whatever. It's just kind of blow over. No one's going to think anything of it. He's like, I don't know. It's like there's this toilet paper shortage, and he's like, I think I'm going to make an ornament for it and just see what it does. Because we had been selling ornaments year round before that. I'm like, all right, fine. I mean, go ahead. And he made it. And to this day, I still think it's an ugly. Do we have it here? I don't think we have it here. No, I don't think we do. We'll put it up on the screen.
Yeah.
But I usually have it with me because it's so significant. But I'm like, this thing's ugly. It looks like a whistle. It's not going to do anything. Shows you how much I know. So Brian's like, oh, just test it out. So we put it on the website, and I didn't launch any ads for it. Usually we'll launch ads for certain products.
Right.
I wasn't sold on it, so I was holding off. But we were just making normal sales, and then I started seeing people starting to buy that organically on our site. I'm like, wait a minute, people are starting to buy this thing. 2-3 days go by, starting to see sales. I'm like, wow. I'm like, well, maybe there is something to this. So then what I did is I say, okay, and I ran through our process, which again we show on our master class. GoQuadra.com. It's free. I show you an ornament that we launched doing this same exact thing, actually. And and we launched the ad, and the next day, it's like we spent like $10 on ads, and we got like 5 sales, like right off the bat. The next day, same thing. Put more money into it. Just kept going, kept going. Long story short, from March until April, I think I don't remember the exact numbers, but I want to say close to $1 million on just that ornament. Um, and we started with $10 budget. I think I was telling you the other day
Yeah.
how scary it was. We were spending $25,000 a day on ads just on that ornament.
Crazy. Yeah.
Crazy. Started with toilet paper interest, just targeting people that are interested in toilet paper on Facebook. But that thing exploded. And so, fortunately, we had just scaled our business to, we had tied into this other manufacturer because Brian's laser shop couldn't keep up the demand
Yeah.
from previous Mother's Day. And so we were trying to get hooked up for Mother's Day. And also, this is where Quadra was, we were developing the connections with the manufacturer. So fortunately, this manufacturer had high capacity. They were able to get it out. But at the same time, during that March April, we also had another Mother's Day product that just completely blew up. It was a Mother's Day sign, and so just in those couple months, I think we did $2 million in revenue, and so it just kind of yeah, and so in a year and a half since we started, a year and a half, 2 years since we started, Urban Force was pretty new
Yeah.
when we started working with Brian. In 2 years, we've scaled it to more than $5.5 million in sales, and it's helped us fund Quadra. Quadra, we haven't taken any debt. We're self-funded. We have a software that's built completely by sellers with sales from doing what we
Yeah.
teach people, which is exciting for me, you know.
Yeah. Well, and I think how serendipitous is
I
it that
know.
you built it selling
I know.
on-demand products?
And I think that's what sets us apart. I mean, you know, there's other print-on-demand dropship companies out there, but we are sellers like the people that are on our platform, and so we're constantly trying to make everything about the seller. So yeah.
So I think that's one of the coolest things about Quadra is that it's built by
Mm-hmm.
not only sellers, right? You guys are
Uh huh.
sellers, but Brian's also a manufacturer.
Exactly.
So how do you feel like those experiences that
Oh.
you've had have influenced the way that Quadra has grown and even just the direction that it's going?
Oh yeah. I think back on and you know, just to put Scott in there as well, the three-headed monster. You know, we have the experience on all those fronts. You're right. It's been invaluable. I don't know anything about manufacturing. I know a lot about selling product,
Right.
but yeah, the manufacturing side, how do we tie into manufacturers? What are those processes like? What kind of files do they need?
Yeah.
All that stuff. You know, looking back without Scott and Brian, there's no way I could have done it. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe I could have tried figuring it out, but just having that partnership with them has been so amazing because it's allowed us to create what we have now with Quadra. You know, having those different expertise has been super valuable. Yeah.
And what services do you feel like you're able to offer to people who are joining the Quadra app that others don't because you guys have those insights?
Yeah, I think the main thing for us is an eye for unique products. I think if you were to compare our products to what you see out there, they're just more unique. The other thing too, and we're not quite there, we're still working on it, but we're not just a print-on-demand platform, we're a marketplace of products. And so, unlike some of the other places, you can't just go in there and get a dropship product, for example. You have to do print-on-demand, or you're just really kind of tied down to whatever manufacturers they have. Where with Quadra, we're literally going to have thousands of manufacturers of all sizes on there, and so for our sellers, it's going to be, you know, a way to be able to always have unique products to sell without having to have a lot of upfront capital. So that's what I think that's what really makes us unique. The other thing too, and this just goes back into, and maybe I'm stealing a little bit of your thunder here, but it goes back to kind of what the mission has turned into for me with Quadra. You know, I've done a lot of reflecting on my journey, especially on those days when I was delivering pizzas. And I think about how much easier I maybe not easier, but I just imagine how awesome it would have been if I had had Quadra when I was going through those hard times, when I was out there trying to grind and make something happen on my own. And so for me, I feel like that's another thing that separates us is we're really on a mission to help people, like we always like to say, help them monetize their creativity, but also help them live life on their own terms, whatever that is. And so that's what drives all of us here at Quadra. For me specifically, it's reaching that guy that I used to be, the pizza delivery guys of the world who are trying to make a living, the single moms out there who are trying to provide, to want to start a business. Anyone who's looking for a way to earn a living. Now, it's not easy. Don't get me wrong. You've listened to my journey. It took me a while to do it. But the reality is the tools are there for you to do it. It's never been easier or more streamlined for you to start a business this way. Everyone should, even if you didn't want to do print on, and here I'm going to start on a rant, even if you didn't want to do e-com as a business, print on demand, dropshipping, or whatever, I think it's so smart to be a side hustle. We even talk to you guys, right? We try to tell you guys to do print on demand, right? And she's working on a store. We got people here that are working on the store. Not because maybe you don't want to do that full time, but just having that side hustle, that extra income on the side is I think super valuable, you know? And so whatever those goals are for people, I want to be able to provide a platform, a marketplace that allows people to monetize their creativity and live life on their own terms, you know? And fuel coming full circle, which is so amazing to me, as I really, for years, even after I got laid off, like I was telling you about in 2015, and started selling print on demand full time, it was always this thorn in my side. It was always this hurt, this shame that I carried with me on those days, that failure. But now I can draw power from it and say, you know what, I went through that so that I could build something that's going to help people that were in my same situation. And for me, again, that's just what fuels me now. It's what drives the vision for Quadra. It's what we try to, have our team and our company stand for, So
yeah. Well, obviously it's something that I'm not passionate about, but it's a very, very cool mission.
Yeah.
So what to you has been the most rewarding thing about building the Quadra app?
You know what? The most rewarding thing for me, and I get chills just talking about it, honestly, was when we launched in November of 2021 was when we launched the Quadra app, was seeing people make money on our app. We would get success stories from people. We had launched in a private group called the Founders Group. So if you're listening to this, we want to thank you guys for taking the leap with us. We were brand new. We had a lot of bumps that last year. This year's going to be a lot different. We have other manufacturers. It's a different story, but they took a chance on us. And there were several people that were able to make thousands of dollars at Christmas time. We had some people make tens of thousands. We had people that make hundreds of thousands. And truthfully, there's some people that made their first online sales ever. And for me, that's been the most rewarding thing. Like, I look at those stories and I just smile. I literally have goosebumps thinking about it. Because for me, it's not about selling products. It's about seeing other people succeed. And just being able to see people succeed like that on something that we built, I can't think of anything more fulfilling than that, to see that, So,
So, as you mentioned, we're kind of in a similar position that you were in 2008. Many people are experiencing a similar thing.
Yeah.
What would you say to those people now that you've had the experiences?
Yeah. I wrote a LinkedIn post about that, which I haven't posted yet, by the way. Which Lindy actually did a great job proofreading or editing it for me. But yeah, I've been reflecting a lot about that because it is full circle, and it's hard for. I'll be honest, it's hard for me right now too. We're a young company. We don't have unlimited funds, right? And I just feel like I'm staring that scenario in the face again, right? And but I can now draw from that experience in the past and draw strength from it, and confidently tell you, if you're going through this, there's a lot of people. I had someone email me just the other day that was on our masterclass saying, yeah, I just lost my job just this past week. And I try not to get emotional, but my heart just goes out to them. And because I understand how hard it is, but there's always an awesome way of looking at it. You can use it as a way to feel defeated, or might think you can see this as one of the best things that happened to you. Maybe this is your time. Maybe this is your time to finally take on that business or to do that thing that you've been wanting to do. It's your choice. The situation is what it is. It's what you want to make of it. And so for many people, some people are gonna go into depression. Some people are going to have, and they're totally justified in doing that. This is hard, not being able to have a job is hard. But you can also take that situation and say, what if now is my time? And I don't care how old you are. I don't care what the failures have been in the past for you. This could be your time right now. And maybe this is the start of something beautiful for you. And humbly, I hope that Quadra can be part of that for you. I feel like we have the tools, the training, and the motivation and passion to really help you with that journey. But regardless, whatever you're going through right now in this, I know it's scary, but maybe this is your time. Maybe this is the time to take those risks. So
Yeah, I love that, and I think obviously you come from a place of
yeah.
understanding. So, what would you say to people who want to get started with Quadra? How can people become sellers, and what's the next steps?
Yeah, great question, Lindy. No, seriously, that's a great question. So we've committed to putting out a lot of free content out there, and so obviously we would recommend that you go to goquadra.com. Currently, right now, we have a masterclass, POD masterclass, where I talk about the strategies that we use to scale our brand new Shopify store from $0 to $5 million. And so if you want to learn how we did it, we do a free masterclass where we show you, kind of those strategies. So we go into how to find unique products to sell. We talk about our product pages. So our product pages, we convert between 6 and 12%. So we give you the secrets of how we do that. We show you a Facebook ad. That ornament is here, actually, right here. We actually show you how we made 16 grand last year on this. Well, made gross sales $16,000 on this ornament right here. I was looking at right here. We actually show you the ads, the case study, everything. What else do we talk about in the master class?
Finding unique products. Lowering profit margins.
Yep.
Which is huge.
Yep. How to get lower profit margins on products. The other thing too, I'll mention with Go Quadra is we have this master class and people love it. Like everyone that gets on is, because we can see the stats, stay on it the whole time. If you stay on the whole time, we also do a bonus where we give you a training on how to sell licensed products. So that's where you would get started. The other thing if you want to learn more about us is just follow us on our socials, subscribe to our channel, listen to our podcasts. We're going to be putting out a lot of new content where hopefully we can help reach those that are looking to start a journey. And we want to put as much free content as we can out there. And then hopefully we have people selling on the platform and changing their lives. So
I would say maybe we're a little biased because we did put on a lot of work in the masterclass, but we did phenomenal content. So
yes,
we'll put that in the description so that everyone can check it out along with some social media links. But
awesome.
Anything else you want to add before we're done?
No, Lindy, I think that was awesome. So I just want to thank everyone for tuning in and listening. But yeah, that was great.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for joining us for another episode of Ecom Life. We'll see you next week.
Okay, see you guys. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, could you do me a huge favor and like this video? Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got tons of great content there. And if you want to connect with us on social media, check out the links in the description. And we look forward to seeing you there.